Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games.
Hi, Jonathan.
And today we're here to showcase a new expansion for PoE 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now, we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now. Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June. And we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2.
Lautstärke
That
ist
means
gut,
the
oder?
next PoE 2 League will be in August, and the next PoE 1 League after that will be in October. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below. This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths, and your KDR. Just because Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't mean this isn't important. Proudly or shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off.
Moin, Dude da.
And with
Hallo, hallo.
that, let's get to why you're here. Secrets of the Atlas.
Secrets of the Atlas.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are. Trust me. I should know.
Kirak.
But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for. Trapped within the Atlas.
Sana.
Reliving memories. Made real.
What have you done?
Sana
Made
back.
grotesque. Made foul.
Wird er mit zum Schwanz?
These manifestations must be destroyed.
Yo!
Their threads must be eradicated.
Ganzes
I
Set
must
an
have
Bossen.
answers. We must
Grafikqualität ist leider ein
find
bisschen
the
retro.
originator. We must save my sister.
My sister. Sanas Bruder oder was?
The path is an illusion made real.
Pinnacle Boss. Complete King's March. Ha! Okay.
Come, child. Drink deep
God.
of the waters of life.
You're either a client or a target.
Target inside.
Companions. Yo!
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Still Sane Exile? Neuer Pinnacle Boss, auf jeden.
Hi,
King's March
I'm
bleibt.
Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile.
Da müssen wir wieder
As
Schiffe
you just
schicken.
saw from
Immer
the
noch.
trailer, there's a lot to
Hi,
show
Mark.
you. Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas endgame update. Then, we'll explore the new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of Trathus. After that, we'll cover the integration of gold into PoE 1 and how we're bringing Settlers of Kalgur into the core game. Finally, we have a much-awaited upgrade to Betrayal League
Boss Kill
and a
Race
set of
Event.
quality of life improvements. Then, we'll wrap up by discussing our Boss Kill Race event, showing you our new supporter packs, and ending with a live Q&A session, where
Log in.
Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I your questions from Twitch chat.
Hey, Sherlock.
In Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within. Partway through the endgame, you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them.
Zeitreise,
Working
oder?
with Egan, you must step through and find Zana, or
Memories.
whatever remains. of her.
Zeitreise. Time Traveling.
Okay, so that's the story background. But how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier,
Egon.
he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your Atlas,
Egon.
a thread of memories. In order to now access each map on the thread, you simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence. These areas can be fully influenced by your Atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort.
Okay, Atlas Tree enabled für Memory
As you
Maps
work your way
jetzt.
along the
Sexy, ey. Eugen.
thread,
Aegon.
you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat.
Memory
Different
petals.
maps on the thread have different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills. For example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items, meaning they can now only drop more valuable items, like currency and maps.
Okay.
Memory of Panic will make all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them. And Memory of Impatience will cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your power.
Okay, let's go.
As you progress further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability.
No, noch mehr Keybinds. Look at this.
As you gather memory
ASD.
petals, you can use these powers together. Each skill costs its own amount of memory petals.
Ich klick dir einfach mit der Maus.
So using the examples above,
Kappa.
you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use Memory of Disbelief to cause them to drop better, more valuable items. Finally, obliterate them all. The Memory of Panic will kick in, causing them to revive, and then wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the experience and enhanced drops twice. There are many combinations of these powers, so you'll have to carefully consider how they best work together. That's not the only extra layer of content juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar. This altar will apply a modifier to all following maps in the thread.
Okay.
And these will stack as you go. So the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have. This, combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile. Let's take a look at some of the altar mods. You are always
Map craft have
presented
no
with
cost?
two choices and must pick one.
50% chance for rares to
This
be
mod, for
possessed.
example,
Oh,
will
shit.
cause some rare monsters to be possessed by tormented spirits.
Some rare monsters.
Where
50%.
this mod
Die
makes
Hälfte.
Carrack modifiers free to craft. Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread.
Yo.
The final map in each
Übertreib.
thread is a true challenge, with all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss.
Okay, Guardians am Ende von
Each
jedem
of these
Thread.
bosses are familiar, but dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories
Oh my God.
and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying.
Triple Slam Innocence. Ah ja.
In this map,
Ah,
you
ja.
will fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge. If you manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tears.
More fragments.
With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses. In this arena, the Moment of Reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate
Valda.
speech in Oriath. The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare.
Waldo
The
ist Sanas
incarnation of
Vater.
dread.
Ich dachte Shaper something something oder so. Alter,
Another
richtig
memory
schön Bullet
created
Hell.
is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles.
Good luck, Exiles.
Of course, if you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them.
New unique
If
items.
you slay the incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the Star Caller unique abyssal axe. We're gonna
Starfall
show
on
this one
melee
because
crit.
it's straight up badass. The Starcaller axe is a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new skill. With the right build, you can carpet entire areas and wipe out screens of enemies as you rain down the elements upon them.
Yo, Cock. Did someone
Another
say
item
cock?
you may find, and this one is my favorite, is the Wine of the Prophet unique flask.
Random
Consumes
divination
a lot of
buff.
charges, but every time you use it, you draw a random divination card. This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff.
Aha.
If you draw the Escape card, you'll gain increased movement speed. Or maybe you'll draw the Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you kill.
Jetzt imagine.
Effectively, you can think of this unique as being many other uniques all in one.
Effect
There are
durations
many
skalieren
cards to draw,
und Flask
each
charges
with varying
gained.
degrees of power to grant.
Pathfinder Login.
Okay, but let's get back to the Atlas. After defeating all 3 new Pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps. These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory petals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps,
More Maps
making them
Modifier.
far more rewarding.
Auf der Map selbst als implicit.
With all these
Also
new
nicht
memory
implicit, sondern
maps
Base Stat.
comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount, up to 100.
Memory Strand.
This does a few things. When you identify the item, it will increase the tiers of modifiers your item has. Generally speaking,
Quasi
the more
wie
memory
tiered
strands, the better the item will be.
Tiered Items in PoE2.
On
Das
top
ist
of
Pendant
this,
dazu.
whenever you're crafting that item using currency orbs to replace or add modifiers,
Oh my God.
such as alterations, chaos, and so forth,
Oh.
it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful.
Oh, das ist ja richtig nasty.
The new Pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies, which can be used to manipulate the
Geil.
amount of memory strands on an item. The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands, you can add some before crafting it.
Okay, alles must-have
The
also.
Orb of Unraveling will consume all remaining memory strands on an item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers. This orb's effectiveness is based on the number of memory strands it consumes.
Wait!
The Orb of Intention can
Wait.
be used on memory-influenced maps
Die kannst du
to
einfach
reduce item drops.
Chain! Und dann hast du das
But
perfekte Item
improve
irgendwann.
the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process of
What?
adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs.
Ja.
This has now been rectified. Both bosses now have Exalted
Blitzmerker.
Orbs, which can add their influence to an item.
Die Blitzmerker.
Zana was there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's storyline. Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete. It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them. In other news, there of course
Was
has
ein
to be
Teaser.
Atlas passive tree support for this new endgame content.
Was ein Teaser.
Let's take a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky. This means it will roll the number of memory strands twice, keeping the highest value.
Sexy.
By allocating traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing,
Okay.
you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses, meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run. This
Oh,
is
das ist Boss
especially
RNG.
useful if you want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas. You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her,
Spectral
find
Throw Buff
crazy
oder
new
was?
Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal-empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful new items. While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new endgame system,
Das Arbiter
you might have
Light,
noticed
der
that a
Typ.
lot of gold was dropping. Let's talk about that.
Die Mucke.
Gold was introduced during the Settlers of Kalgur expansion. It funded the development and operations of King's March, along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market, and the passive respec system with Faustus. Those features offered by Faustus will be here to stay, along with some of the other services King's March has to offer. We'll get more into that later, but don't worry, King's March has already been completed. There will be no more town building. Like before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league. It's time to talk about mercenaries of Trathus.
Raus mit den Mappern, raus mit den
In this
Schiffen,
league,
die
you will
man
meet
immer schicken
veterans
muss.
who have traveled all the way from the lawless cities of Trathus.
Automatisierte
They're
Schiffe.
ready to offer their
Da bin
sinister
ich dabei.
services, but not for free.
Söldner
You will
also.
encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and items already equipped.
Richtige Gangster.
After meeting them, as per the Trathan code, they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and conviction.
Zeit für ein
Before beginning the
Duell.
duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects augmenting those skills.
Molten Well. Nicht
You must
Molten
now
Shell,
make a
Molten
choice.
Well.
You can hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you
Earthquake
normally
of
find
Winter.
from defeating monsters, as they've been crafting their items too.
Oh, sexy.
They can also come equipped with unique items, those that would make sense for the skills they are using. There are even some new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them.
Okay.
One such unique is Scornflux. These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While
Oh.
equipped, increases to cast speed from
Holy.
Arcane Surge also apply to movement
Hierophant
speed,
Login.
which is worth
Bruder.
noting is now 20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from
Alter.
10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly
ist wieder da.
infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trathus. They are less common, but have far better items. And they are also the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage. Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification.
Oh, Fortification Buff, kein Nerf.
If you're not swayed by any of their equipped gear, however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item. You aren't bound to Trathan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Was ein Duell, ey.
Not really.
While playing in a party, each player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is
Character.
usually
Baller
currency
Lightning.
items from the mercenary's pouch. Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on.
Ah,
Or
was?
they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an Eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused Scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided. When I'm playing a more aggressive character myself though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a Striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike. And if you're lucky, a very rare golden support that causes the fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well.
Können
He
die
will also
sterben?
frequently use Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me, and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back. Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trathan version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them. Then defeat them, and they'll drop the Trathen gem as promised.
Yo, come on.
You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service. The other 2 will wait patiently in town. Having varied options is useful, as there may be situations where you need specific backup, like a difficult boss fight. Any of your mercenaries you have active, or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing. They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance through the campaign and endgame. If your mercenary falls in combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet.
Okay.
Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to clarify,
Die brauchen keine Links, ne?
mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated. If your merc buddy consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
Ein bisschen lassen.
You walk your path, I'll walk mine.
Nicht Animate Guardian, ja.
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries. If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then choose to
Spawn dann
exile
nicht mehr für 10
If you win the
weitere
duel,
Begegnungen.
they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside these new Trathen arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalgurin ones too. As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeccing of passive points. You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestil and Lionize Watch.
Yo.
Black market item gambling, previously just available in Kingsmarch, is now available in each town at the same NPC. This lets you buy randomly generated item bases for gold.
Nice.
Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique. The currency exchange will be returning too. Starting from Lionize Watch in Act 6,
Quasi
you'll
auch
be
wie
able to
Imperial
find
2, ne?
Faustus, who can help facilitate these trades. Now, after almost a year of building, Johann is finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town.
Endlich ist die
And
Stadt
now
fertig
its
gebaut.
services can be
Johann,
used to their full
ist
effect.
glücklich.
Kingsmarch is going core, but there will be no more town building. As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalgurin workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalgurin ports, and they'll return rewards in kind. By sending shipments, you'll receive different items, but by sending to Karui ports, you will also receive tattoos, which can be used on your passive tree to change what stats they grant. The Kalgurin ports will be sending back rune grafts, which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town. These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery node. For
Replace
example,
masteries.
Runegraft of the Bound
Aha.
reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves.
Aber limited to 1.
Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low life.
Alter, 20%.
And the Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their cooldown.
Das ist halt insane,
Which I
ey.
will note includes cooldowns on your triggers.
Ich wollte
Just
gerade
in case
sagen.
you wanted to trigger even more spells.
Ja. Mehr Cock?
There are
Someone
many
say
other
even more
Runegrafts
cock?
which cover a wide range of different builds and stats. Some are more common and others rarer. You can only use one of a given type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be particularly useful for off-class investment.
Alter, das ist
Isla
Sachen.
has continued to make modifications
Strong.
to the Recombinator. She has developed a new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2.
Recombinator.
For those
Boote wieder
unfamiliar,
schiffen.
this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the 2 input items you want to try
Kenn
and merge
ich.
together.
Da wird da so ein
and it has a
Prozentwert
success chart
angezeigt.
you can see.
Ja.
This method can result in the items being destroyed. However, it is a good option to use when trying to create
7,9%?
items with
Hey.
fewer mods to use
Na,
as
als
crafting
ob.
projects.
Noch nie hat das funktioniert bei mir. Noch
Given
nie.
the existing
F.
recombinating
Big
mechanic
F.
was very powerful for top-end crafting,
Big
we
F.
didn't want to remove it.
Für
We have
Recombinator
kept
und
it,
Schiffe
and you can
schicken.
now choose to use it the old way
Der Rest ist mega
or the
geil.
new way. By letting fate decide, it will combine the two items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable.
Aha, okay. Es gibt quasi old and new one. Old way, new way.
As Settlers is now a core mechanic, we've also added Atlas passive tree support.
Nicht ganz so schlimm.
For example, if you wanted to gather more Verisium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node. Refiner's Bargain converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops.
Okay.
We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs.
Stealth-Interaktion mit Kalgur?
Increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores. To sum it all up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft items,
Es ist witzig, wenn Mark
and
sagt.
run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and rune grafts,
Aber wieder manuell,
using
ne?
those to modify your passive tree
manuell.
to an extent never seen before.
Die Schiffe.
Following on from that, we've also made a
Nein.
substantial rework to another important mechanic, betrayal. As a refresher, and to explain to new players, let's briefly explain what betrayal is.
Oh ja, bitte. Take
Betrayal
notes.
is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoy and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death. You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: transportation, fortification, research, and intervention. As you encounter the Immortal Syndicate members, you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders, tracking them to their safe houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind. In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time. Historically, after encountering and defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the Immortal Syndicate would reset, requiring you to start from the beginning of the investigation again.
Okay, aber
This
jetzt.
has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad.
Pausing.
Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long
Ja.
setting up?
Oder machst du dich gerade wischst die Füße, ja?
In the
Mit
Secrets of the Atlas
Diffcards.
expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic.
Okay.
The boss is now accessible through a new fragment that has a chance to drop from the safe house leaders at high levels. The
Jo.
Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate. You can now build your betrayal board to your liking, optimize it, do Mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all your progress every time.
Chance to get the orb.
The boss fight itself has also been improved,
Okay.
now with significantly fewer immunity phases and new rewards.
Oh mein Gott.
By the way, if you're a
Sieht
new
geil
player to
aus.
Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This
Ja.
content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your
Don't
own
worry,
pace.
siehst eh nichts auf dem Bildschirm. Sieht auch übrigens aus
The
wie Grütze,
Mastermind
ja.
still has a chance to
Zwischendurch die
drop the
Aufnahmen
Veiled
von
Orb,
ihm.
now renamed to Veiled Exalted. Orb.
Developer-Bild.
Veiled
Veiled
Chaos Orbs have
Exalted
been
Orb.
re-added to other safe house leaders.
So geil.
In addition,
So
the
geil.
Mastermind now drops the new All Flame Embers. All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace monster packs and in-game maps with different
All
types of
Flames.
special monsters.
Erinnert euch. Necropolis.
These packs have unusual properties, compositions, or rewards.
Kannst du Big Dick
For
Divines farmen
example,
wieder.
you might use the All Flame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain.
What?
This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding.
Alter, richtige Action. Was ist übrigens
It
dieser
is our intention
Ballista-Skill,
with All
bitte?
Flames to provide many different types that combine with other mechanics.
Wo alle Ballista im
multiplying with
Kreis-
your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways. Another good example of this is the All Flame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map.
Wild.
This can be useful when trying to create singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters. Something akin to meat sacks. which are making a reinvented comeback with this update too.
Meteor. Oh no. Wie viele
Another
Mods
is
der
the
hatte.
All-Flame Ember of Resplendence, which adds monsters that drop no items. But when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to enhance the drops of all other monsters.
Witzig.
All-Flame Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps. We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps.
Wo ist der 6.
Perhaps you'll
Map-Device-Slot?
use all
So.
scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match.
Mix
It's
and
up to you.
match. Bunter
The
Salat.
Mastermind's unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items
Oh,
are now from a
2
custom pool exclusive to those uniques.
Okay.
Bitter Bind Point, for example, can now have various Spectre-specific outcomes,
Jo.
such as +1 additional Spectre.
Jo.
Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all the Safe House rewards have also been rebalanced. We've done a pass on the crafting sprees at the end of many safe houses. For those who aren't aware how these
90
crafting sprees
Sekunden
work,
Zeit. Was?
well, it's simple. There's a crafting
What?
bench with an item in it and a bunch of currency. There's a limited amount of time, and your only objective is to craft the
What?
best item possible before the time ends.
Hier,
One of the
Implicit
problems that the
Gamble.
crafting sprees
Auch
have is that they
mega.
often require you to have specific items on hand in order to best maximize your result.
Oh.
But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more powerful crafting options in each spree. Let's take
Da
a
habe ich
look
gerade
at a
gefragt,
few
legt man da eine
examples.
Base rein oder?
In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you.
90 Sekunden,
Test
ist
your
halt geil.
crafting skill or luck
Das ist
with this
geil.
reflecting mist crafting spree, and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise.
Da ist sogar ein
And
Reflecting
in this
Mist
spree,
drin,
you will
als
find a
ob. Ich habe noch nie
pre-generated
einen
unique
gefunden,
item
seit es die
and a
gibt.
new kind of orb that
nie.
resembles a Val orb, but not quite the same. Normally, you can only corrupt an item once,
No way.
but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs.
Jo,
This
richtig
orb also
spannend.
allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits and has a much lower chance to brick the item.
Aha.
It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes. Of course, if you push your luck, you can still ruin the item.
Wild.
There are also crafting sprees where you still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently.
Fühlt sich überrannt? Ja, was hast
This
du
one
erwartet
allows
nach
you to
einem
bring
Jahr?
your own normal rarity item. Then
Absolute
just go
Banger.
ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs
Oh my
and
God.
orbs of chance, hoping to get your ideal unit.
Haha, gerade auch bei einem
For
Heavy
most
Build.
sprees, the rank of the syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love
Eine
gambling for
Facetas Lens
currency,
drin.
how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests? These work just like the Emperor's Luck divination card and provide full stacks of currency. If you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines.
In welchem Leben?
Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game,
Sehr geil.
so you don't need to run Betrayal to unlock them.
Ja.
They are instead found at the entrances to boss rooms and in-game maps.
Lässt sich halt gezielter jetzt
On
auch
top of
irgendwie
that, you
bewerkstelligen.
no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items.
So
You can
gut.
just right-click them, or the equivalent on gamepad, and select which veiled modifier you want to unveil. Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Happy Interrogation.
Now,
Shut
before
up.
we get into our quality of life additions, let's quickly talk about some character balance.
Oh,
We will be doing our regular
Skill gem
character
balance.
balance changes where we are bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but we are also
Oh,
focusing
see?
our attention on buffing some specific things.
Chain
This
Hook.
includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting builds, channel
Channeling.
spells,
Channeling.
adding new
Liebe.
options to the Guardian, Berserker, Elementalist, Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes,
Mindestens
which
3
includes
Ascendancy
some favorites
Reworks.
from some of the alternate classes from Legacy of Frisia,
Oh, Freesia.
and buffing a whole bunch of transfigured gems that never really hit the mark. Combined with the new endgame crafting, improved betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new pinnacle unique items, new modifiers and Trathan gems from the mercenaries, and of course the mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about.
Oh yeah.
Instead of delving into all of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the
Patch
Secrets
notes
of the
today.
Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality of life features that we know you've all been asking for. A lot of these have already been posted, but let's take a look now in case you missed any.
Quality of life.
You can now pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu, or by opening any full screen interface, like the passive tree.
Don't betray.
You'll also be paused if any lag is detected, or if you disconnect.
Geil.
It's worth noting that in certain pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing. We're also making a change to how you use currency items on
so
strongboxes
gut.
and monsters imprisoned in essences.
So gut im PoE 2, ja.
Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear. Valuable currency like divine orbs have been
Gänsehaut,
excluded from
Leute.
this as it would often be wasteful to use in this
Saftig.
context. The same applies to essences with the remnant of corruption currency. Orbs of Horizon have been updated. They can now reroll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps. Doing so will reroll the base map and the Guardian of that map.
Da wurde vieles schon geteasert. Ja.
The map device now has a small additional inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments. During breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach. On gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are nearby.
Wo Suchfunktion für
You no
Mini-Inventory.
longer
Ja.
have to kill all of them first. Vendor windows will now remember your last search.
Auch mega
This
cool.
is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on. There are many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes. Alongside the launch of Secrets of the Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new pinnacle bosses. The event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trathis League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners. Keep an eye on the news in the lead up to launch for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are.
Das ist die Introduction.
Next up,
That's
we're
it.
going to be talking about our new League supporter packs. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
Take my money.
As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way.
Die Mucke
The
ist so
Frisian
gut, ey.
Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses.
Ouch.
You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered. Either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you.
Blütenzauber.
Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect. Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying enemies. You are the law while wearing the armor of the powerful Frisian Grand Magistrate.
Das ist wild.
The
Wild
Spider Blossom
wuchern.
pet activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an elegant flower when near rare or unique enemies. The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes in 2 forms. Equip either the Tombstone variant, which will leave tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise, or
Was?
equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden flowers.
Sieht man Corpses besser.
Keep track of how well, or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout decoration. It will keep track of the total number of
Ultimatum,
waves completed, the total number of ultimatums succeeded, or even failed.
Wisst ihr, was bei
On
mir
top
da
of that,
steht?
it will track the total number of times you've defeated the Trial Master himself.
Big Zero.
The Crypt Keeper pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies.
Yo.
The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through. Become the true master of the undead by wearing the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It comes with a more armored helmet variant and a creepy mask with a spectral hood.
Ja, die ist ja geil.
Looking to have
Oh,
some
shit.
fun during idle time in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout
No
decoration will test your reaction speed as you try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible in
Hau
the
den
shortest time.
Devour.
It also comes with a scoreboard,
Hau den
so you
Lukas.
can try to set new records to show off to your friends or just visitors coming to
Na, wie
trade.
heißt das Game?
Equip yourself
So
with the
ähnlich, ne?
Ghostly Dead as you ride the line between the living and the dead with the Sacred Crypt Keeper back attachment. The Sacred Archives map device resembles a magical library with the works of scholars that come to life when you open a map. This
Right.
map device tracks how many of each core league you've completed in in-game maps.
Yo, das ist ja huge.
These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during
Guacamole.
Path of Exile, Mercenaries of Trathus. Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2.
Must buy.
Meanwhile, the Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of Trathus League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them in Path of Exile 1.
Sexy.
Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Secrets of the
Kriegt
Atlas.
FOMO rein, ja.
With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information.
Halt.